We're here today with folks from the Jewish community to stand for peace. We want to see the war in the Gaza Strip and the violence in the West Bank come to an end. October 7th, 2023 was a devastating day in history for many of the folks here and their families and friends in Israel. And it really concerned a lot of folks here in Baltimore. It is also the case that tens of thousands of people have died in the Gaza Strip, and tens of thousands of families that had no part in the violence on October 7th are now feeling the brunt of the weight of the war. This war must end. We must have peace. And the only way that we get to peace is by stopping the bombing. As the U.S. continues to send bombs to Israel that are used to perpetuate this devastating war, it just further perpetuates the violence and further pushes the prospect of peace from a reality. That's why I'm here today to support the Block the Bombs Act and the West Bank Violence Prevention Act, two pieces of legislation that move us closer to peace and further away from war. I'm also calling upon our sitting Congressman, Kweisi Mfume, to support both acts so that we can move toward a peaceful future.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Cooperstein. I'm a Baltimore peace activist. I've been active for Israeli-Palestinian peace for 48 years. I want to say that Mark Conway is not just speaking in any language differently than the language coming out of B'Tselem, the leading human rights organization in Israel, that is also calling for an end to the violence, an end to the weapons, an end to the extreme violence against Gazans and West Bank Palestinians. There are lots of groups in Israel that support his point of view, but we don't hear them in Baltimore. We only hear what's called a pro-Israel point of view, but we're not pro-Israel, anti-Israel, we're anti-war. Mark Conway is not anti-Israel, he's anti-war. He's supporting Israelis and Palestinians who want peace. He is not saying stop bombing because he doesn't support Israel. He knows, just like we know, and many in the Jewish community know, and whose voices are suppressed, we know that this will not end with more weapons. We want our tax dollars to stop funding this. We want the United States to get serious and once and for all say and put some teeth behind the message that Palestinians deserve equal rights across the board. And we need to make that happen. And thank you, Mark Conway, for helping us to make that happen.
Hi there, I'm Charlie Cooper, lived in Baltimore for 56 years. I'm a political activist. I favor real democracy, economic equality, and peace. We have a lot of politicians in our Congress that are willing to say nice things, but when it comes time to vote for real peace and do something that really makes a difference, they're afraid. They're clinging to the old verities. Maybe it's because of their funders, maybe it's because they don't have enough imagination, but we definitely need a new crew that can grasp the situation as it is. The great mass of voters in this country are tired of the policies that have us stuck with rising inequality, stuck with war. We have an election coming up and we have a chance to see who's willing to really make a concrete change. And the Block the Bombs bill is one example of the kind of thing that will actually make a difference.
My name is Gwen Du Bois. I'm a lifelong Jewish member of congregation here in Baltimore. And, being critical of Israeli policy is no more anti-Israel, anti-Jewish than being critical of the present administration's policy is anti-American. And my rabbi of blessed memory remember saying from the pulpit once, if you want to remember one thing about being Jewish, it's pekuach nefesh, which means life comes first. And that is so fundamental. And that guides me in my peace work, and it's why I'm here in support of Mark Conway.
Look, I'll say thank you. Thank you all for continuing to stand up for peace and to continue to support Israel in doing so. Those things are not separate. Israel wants peace. I'm sure the Gazan people want peace. The folks in West Bank want peace. And there are ways to do that. And we can do that together. At what point do we draw a line and say enough's enough? How do we make sure that we move forward in a way that doesn't continue to lean into a conflict that must come to an end at some point? That doesn't happen by sending offensive weapons to Israel. We've done enough. It's time to stop.